Okay, so I'm going to make a quick video and show how to assemble the strut tower, which just requires the strut itself, spring. This is just a crappy respray. Then it requires this piece here along with this original rubber seal. I wasn't able to find these, so I just sanded it best I could, painted it up, cleaned up the rubber seal, and you'll need a new one of these. And I'm going to go ahead and remove these off of here and get ready to set this up, so I will be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. So, before I decide to clamp this thing down, I'm going to take the new strut here. Now I want to show that with this spring, there's two sides. Of course, if you look at the manual, you will see that there's a flat edge, and this flat edge is going to be on the upside where it mounts up to high. So this is going to be the piece, the circular piece, is the one that goes down onto the strut. And then you want to take the strut with the spring, and you will notice right here, I'm going to hope you can see the way this is shaped. It's all flat, and then there's a stop here, and that is where the bottom spring goes, right there at the stop. So then when you have it on there to where it's not going to rotate anymore, it stops there, then you can determine where you're going to put your clamps to keep them out of the way. And I mention this because it would just be easier to make sure that you have the clamps to where they're going to be able to get out of the way after you assemble the strut, rather than take it all apart and then reassemble, because the hardest part of this is tightening and loosening these clamps. Now there's another clamp option, which I would probably suggest myself. If you can get the C-clamp type of clamps, I would definitely go with those over these. These are a little bit dangerous, but I feel comfortable using them. I feel like these here are pretty safe for myself, although I wouldn't exactly suggest using these. I would go the safer route if I were anyone else. Now that I have these two here ready to tighten, I'm probably going to cut this video and come back. Now I can take this out of the way, and then I will be able to start tightening these. Of course, you want to go back and forth with them. You don't want to go leaving either of them behind. You want to try to be as even as possible. If they were going to slip on you, I feel like the most likely time it would be when you have too much tension in one and not enough in the other. Especially more so when taking them apart. So, anyways, maybe I'll fast forward through this here if I can figure that out in the editing software. Then I use that to clamp the top hat, and yeah, because this is the strut mount, this is the bellow, and this is called the top hat. Okay, so now we take the strut again, and we take the compressed spring, And we're going to set it down over top. And this one might actually be in the way. Oh yeah, note to self, or note to you all. I shouldn't have done it this way. What I should have done was now I was holding this at the bottom just because the first time you press these down, they're going to go down real easy. The whole spring will compress real easy, but once you compress it one time, that's it. It doesn't want to compress again. But so then I'm going to take this. I'm going to sort of, you'll see if you use the same rubber, you'll have sort of a guide of where the end of this flat bar goes here, which will line up almost with your nut. Weird shape in that nut. So that'll go like so. So I'm getting it into the nut first. And then I'm going to look up here and I'm going to try to rotate this seat around, rotate the whole bolt around a little bit, which I'm hoping will be easier since I didn't press it down that one time. But yep, so you can actually manually turn it. It takes a little strength, but that's something I just learned in the first one when I pressed it down accidentally, putting this bellow on. Then, like I said, it was under so much tension you couldn't even turn this and adjust it. I had to get the hat on and get it seated properly and then rotate the hat because I needed something a little more bite on it. So then, yeah, that looks about lined up now. So the end of that's right there. And that is lined up. So I'm going to tilt this. Yep, so now I'm going to take the nut for this thing and got it started on there. Now the key is just making sure that groove is in the top hat on the nut, and then it'll go ahead and work itself down. You definitely don't have enough room to put this on yet with just these. Maybe with another type of clamp, like that C-clamp that people were telling me I should have used, should have got. But since I happen to have these other clamps handy, it works out for me. Now, I'm going to clamp this right here. just to hold this thing compressed while I take the nut off, so that way when I take this nut off, I'll have enough thread sticking up through this to get the nut started. And I screwed up because I'm going to have to redo this real quick. I didn't leave myself enough room here to get this arm out of the way. Okay. And really, if you had a second person, I think you could probably compress it enough extra with a second person, just pressing one person, just pressing down on it if they had some good weight to them. But since I'm doing this myself, this just seemed to be the easiest way for me. Of course, I'm definitely open for some advice on this as well, because this is my first time doing this, and it's all been a learning process. And I might be turning the, so I'm going to look at the nut. I see a marker at the top, and no, not the nut, but the threaded side, it's not rotating. However, oh, it's loose because it's torquing it down. And it's a little tight there. So the torque spec was 33 pounds, which I have this set from the last one I just torqued. So of course I'm going to do it this way, and after I take the springs off, I'm going to make sure again that it's torqued at 33 pounds. That way the springs, the compression, guarantees it will not spin this nut then. So now I go back here to my 19, if I can find it, and start working these off. So if I can figure this part out, I might be doing a fast forward to this for you. Now taking these off though, maybe I won't fast forward it yet, because something I did not mention earlier was the 19 open end, because this one here gets a little tricky. No matter, one of them is going to get tricky where they are, so you're going to want an open end so you can work it a little differently, because where this one's located at now, that I have it orned and straightened up, it doesn't want to come off of you can't get the head of the socket on there. So I gotta do it the long physical way. I wish I had one of those clicky things that I could just stick on it and ratchet. The only reason I'm really shooting this video is because I was pretty much lost in disassembling and reassembling these. Saw a lot of others on how to install them, remove them. Even saw that one video on how to take apart the electronic struts and rebuild them, but I wasn't able to find any video of the actual disassembly and reassembly of the tower after it was removed from the vehicle. So I figured I would go ahead and try to put one up there. Maybe this will come in helpful for somebody, I hope, because I would have been watching it if I was getting ready to do it. Tension is starting to ease. And one more time, I'm at 33 now that it's under tension, just to double check. And that's one reassembled strut tower ready to go in the car. And nabbity-abbity-oh.